Better make sure the chair's at the right height. Shout it out for me. Shout it out for me. So come on. So hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now today, this one is pretty simple. Artists who I get excited by in terms of new releases. I'm not sure how I'm going to title this video yet. But yeah, basically what I'm going to be doing here is, I've got a pile of records here, just some artists whose albums I still get excited for. What I mean by that is if like a new artist was to announce an album, it's something I'd really get excited for. You guys can probably tell that this video was kind of inspired by recent releases. By that I mean I'm hinting around at Paul McCartney's new song, Foo You, which just came out. Yeah, I've seen so many people talk about this song now, so many reactions to it, and the thing is, the song isn't good, so it's so interesting that so many people are talking about it. I mean, I know why people are talking about it. They're talking about it just because it's Paul McCartney, because I feel like if anyone else released this song, no one would care, because it's not good. And it's been so interesting seeing people's reactions, and half the people out there getting it wrong, thinking that they're talking about him. They think he's singing about him being, you know, screwing someone, and it's like, okay. But anyway, so it's been a very, very interesting couple days with the new Paul McCartney song. But it kind of made me think at the same time, guys, I get why everyone's talking about it because it's Paul McCartney, but at the same time, people were talking about his album like crazy, and it's kind of like, there are actually a couple albums coming up which I think are generally more exciting. They've had better singles. Everything about their albums is looking better, but they get no attention whatsoever. And also, generally, there's a lot of artists out there which I feel generally have put out some good albums in recent years, which haven't got enough attention. So this is me trying to put a plug in for some artists, you know, for those, you know, I'm not the biggest music expert out there. I'm not the most up-to-date person with music. But, you know, in terms of coming up with content for the channel, these are some artists whose, if they were to announce an album, a couple of them do have albums coming up, I generally get excited for. So, they're in no particular order here. How many artists have I got to talk about today? I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 artists. Gonna go kind of quick. So the first one up is Paul Weller. Now, my very good friend Ross Goodall will tell you a lot about Mr. Paul Weller. I'm not the biggest expert on him, but I've heard his most recent 3 albums. I've heard a couple of his early ones. I've heard his first and second, I think. And he does have a new album coming up in September. And the single from it was amazing. It was really, really good. And Paul Weller's last album, this one, A Kind Revolution, was incredible. I heard about 21, 22 albums last year, and I think this was my second or third. No, I'm pretty sure it was my third favourite album last year. So you know it's good. It's a solid album. The album before this, Saturn's Pattern, was also excellent. And Paul Weller is just at the top of his game right now, I think I'd say. I mean, as I say, I haven't heard his whole catalogue, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a period in his career, his solo career, where he was better than what he is now. But right now, he just always seems to be getting really good reviews. All the songs are really good. Very solid albums. So yeah, Paul Weller. Next one up I'm going to talk about is a band which I'm still kind of new to. And that's the Struts. This album also from last year. I think this was my 5th favourite album from last year. This is Splitting Image. I have heard their album that come before this. I think they have another one out there as well, which I still haven't heard. And the one that come before this wasn't as good. But this album was so good. This is getting back to that classic rock sound with a modern production. And it sounds absolutely incredible. If this band had a more popular name, something like Imagine Dragons, this would have been an easy #1 album. It was so good. And really, it is the most innocent rock album to come out last year, I think. It's just pure fun, pure entertainment. And as soon as the Stripes announce another album, I'm going to be on that pre-order, that's for sure. Because this was fun. This was really good. And as I said, guys, if you haven't checked them, I wouldn't necessarily say check them out, because I can't comment too much on their other 2 albums. I think it's their second album I've heard. is okay. It's a decent listen. I haven't heard their first one yet. But guys, check this album out. I think a lot of people who visit my channel will actually really enjoy that one. Check out the opening track, Behind Closed Doors. That is a really, really good song. Okay, so next one up. Going to touch on an older artist here. I mean, Paul Weller's an older artist, but I'm going to go to an old artist here. 60s, he's from that classic period. A lot of the music that we talk about here on this channel. And that is Mr. Robert Plant. God, a glare here. If I put the record this side, it's a bit better. Let me swap sides. Yeah, Mr. Robert Plant is like fine wine. In terms of all of these great old musicians who are still going today, like Robert Plant, Paul McCartney, Paul Simon, you know, Elton John, Jeff Lynne, Eric Clapton. Yeah, the list is endless. All these classic old artists that are still going. A lot of them are still doing well, like Paul Weller. Some of them are not doing as well, Elton John. Some of them are kind of in the middle gap where they don't get too much of attention, which is where Robert Plant kind of falls into, I think. But Robert Plant is easily the best of those old musicians today, I think, because he has adapted to what he is capable of, which is, again, looking at this new single from Paul McCartney, is 150% something that he should look at doing. But anyway, he's not. But yeah, Robert Plant is just... He's not gone super soft or country or anything, you know, to give his vocals a real easy time. But he's gone into this own sort of genre. He's made it his own almost. It's a mix of rock and country. It sounds fantastic. And it's really unique to his voice. And it's just, he creates these beautiful songs, these beautiful sounds. It's completely different to what he was doing in Zeppelin and his early solo career. Incredible. Robert Plant is 100% at the top of his game right now. His music is fantastic. And anyone who hasn't checked out any modern Robert Plant stuff, you are missing out. Next one up, Noel Gallagher. Noel Gallagher is amazing. I had someone comment on my last video, actually. I haven't responded to the comments yet, but I'll say it here to that guy, if he's watching, who asked this question. He said, I haven't checked out any of Noel Gallagher's solo stuff yet. Should I check it out? And I say 100% yes. Noel Gallagher has an incredible solo career so far. He's got 3 albums and they're all amazing. I absolutely adore them all. I think each album progressively gets a tad... I don't want to say worse because that sounds bad. But each album gets slightly lesser than the one before. My favourite is his debut, then Chasing Yesterday, and then Who Built the Moon. But I love all 3 albums so much. They're fantastic. All 3 albums from Noel Gallagher have been so fun, so well produced. I mean, the production is a bit over the top on this one, but it sounds fantastic. Noel Gallagher's writing is great. His singing is great. They're just amazing albums. I can't recommend Noel Gallagher enough, to be honest. I think he's incredible. Okay, so I'm going to touch on another old artist now. And again, they're definitely not at the top of their game at the minute, but their albums are still consistently good, which is why I had to include them. And that is Madness. You know, the #1 British band. I mean, they're just as British as it gets. And yeah, I definitely say Madness deserve a spot here because every album they put out is really good. This album was really... This is their latest album from 2016. Can't Touch Us Now. And it was fantastic. The album before that, Oi Oi Oi, or whatever it was called, was also really good. And the one before that was fantastic. The Liberty of Norton Folgate, which I'd recommend to anyone who hasn't heard it. It is a fantastic album. Probably, potentially Madness's best album. Surprisingly. Even though, don't get me wrong, Madness are, you know, of course, so well known for their great hits during the late 70s and 80s. But yeah, Liberty of Norton Folgate is really something special. But anyway, Madness are always consistently good, which is why I always look forward to their albums. And now we got another band which only has 3 albums, but all 3 albums have been amazing. And it's an American country band, so if you like American artists, if you like that American sound, if you like country music, this is 100% a band that you're going to want to get behind because they're not that well known and they deserve a lot more attention. And I'm sure some of you have heard me talk about them before because I always try to push this band on people because I feel really bad for them because they don't get nowhere near as the attention that they should. And that is the Lone Bellow. So this is their third album, which came out last year. This is my second favourite album of last year. And this is Walk Into the Storm. They have an album before that called Then Came the Morning, and their debut is self-titled. But yeah, this is such an amazing album. My favourite song on here is Feather, where they let the female take lead vocals. But the Lone Bellow are fantastic. They're a great band. They deserve so much more attention. They're just fantastic. And if you haven't checked them out, you've got to do it. They're a great band. Okay, next up, this one here might be a bit controversial because this guy's not at the top of his game at the minute, but I still really enjoy what he puts out, and it's pretty rare that he puts something out, but at the same time I always look forward to it. That is Jeff Lynne, the guy from Yellow. Yeah, Jeff Lynne. He put out an album in 2001, 2012, and 2015. So he's not the most consistent guy. We're still waiting on the next one. But, you know, I loved his 2001 album, Zoom. I thought it was incredible. Oh, he did put out an album in 91 as well, but that one was so long ago I didn't know whether to bring it up or not. But I'm sure some people might call me out on it, so I'm not forgetting Armchair Theatre. But that album was great as well. Zoom was fantastic. I really like Long Wave. It's a covers album. It's a little American, his take on the American songs. But it's really fun. I still really get behind that album. It's a good time. And Alone in the Universe was a fantastic comeback album. So far he's had 4 attempts at making albums since he broke up with Yellow, and they've all been really, really good. So if Jeff Lynne announces another album, and it is rumoured that he's going to have another one in 2019, I will fully get behind that. Okay, next up. Coldplay. Probably the most modern band here that we're going to talk about. This is their last album, Head Full of Dreams, which, you know, I think we can all agree is not one of their best, but it's still a good album. I like it. It's I really enjoyed this album when it came out because there were a lot of singles from this album that were all over the charts, and it was nice to have some music in the charts that I enjoyed. So this album done me some good. But I love Coldplay. I'm more of a fan of their stuff like Rush of Blood to the Head, Ghost Stories, Viva La Vida. But they're such a solid band again. The only album from them I haven't liked much is X and Y. Other than that, I've really enjoyed every album. Admittedly, the last thing they released, their last EP, I didn't enjoy. So I do worry about what direction they're going to go in. But I feel like I can trust Coldplay on their albums enough. And I will, again, fully get behind another album from Coldplay. So, yeah. Okay, free to go. So this one here is kind of a double whammy. This is Tom Chaplin / Keane, because there is hope that Keane will get back together. So Tom Chaplin is the lead singer in Keane. Keane had 4 albums. Everyone knows their first album, I'm sure. You know, or people know songs off it, like Somewhere Only We Know. I mean, come on, you know that song, guys. All 4 Keane albums are great. I'm a huge fan of the debut and their last album. Tom Chaplin has had 2 solo albums so far, and they've both been great. This was his last solo album. It's called 12 Tales of Christmas. It was released last year in December. It's not actually a Christmas album, it's just a winter album. I mean, you can tell by the songs he covers. He covers Walking in the Air, which is a winter song. 2,000 Miles. You know, they're all Christmas hits. They might drop the word Christmas every now and then, but they are more wintry songs. So don't look at him as an artist who's just scooped to doing Christmas albums now, because he's not. It was a winter album. And I'm not going to lie, this was a beautiful album. I loved it. It was incredible. I actually tweeted him to let him know how beautiful I think it was, and he actually responded to my tweet. So that was very cool to get a celebrity respond to something that I put on his social media. So that was fantastic. But Tom Chaplin, so far, he's been a part of 6 albums, 4 Keane albums, his 2 studio albums, and they've all been great. Tom Chaplin is my favourite vocalist. I think his vocals are flawless. They're beautiful. Every song, they're perfection. If he was to announce another album, I would be so excited. Okay, next one up is the number 1 on my list. This is like the one which I'm praying people check out. This guy has an album coming out 5 days before Egypt Station. And he's had 2 singles from his new album. and they've both been incredible. Like, incredible. It's funny, every time McCartney releases a new single and I don't like it, it seems that this guy releases a new single and I love it. So, while I keep getting disappointed by McCartney, at the same time, I have got this massive excitement building up for this album. Well, not this album, but an album by this guy, and that is Joe Bonamassa. Yes, I know some of you have probably heard him purely from me talking about him, or maybe you've seen someone else on YouTube make an old video on him, like Vinyl Collector James, but he is amazing, guys. Honestly, this guy is incredible. I forget the name of his new album. It's escaped me at the minute. This was his last album, Blues of Desperation, which was my favourite album of 2016. It was amazing. This guy is incredible. His vocals are amazing. He's a blues / rock guy. He's just fantastic. Honestly, he really is. And yeah, I can't recommend him enough. He is absolutely incredible. These last few albums have all been excellent. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is a little bit controversial as well, because their last album that came out this year was not good. But I am going to bring them up anyway, because their 5 albums that come before this one, I've really enjoyed. So I have faith that next time they come back, they would have learnt from their mistakes. They probably read the reviews. So I feel like we'll be alright with the next one. And I generally would get excited for it. And that is the Arctic Monkeys. So this is AM. I didn't buy Hotel Casino. Can't remember the name of it. Hotel Casino and something. But yeah, AM was amazing. This was an incredible album. I really like everything I've heard from the Arctic Monkeys that came like AM and before. So I have faith. Again, if they were to announce a new album, I would be very excited. But anyway, there's some artists which I personally think they're the best ones going at the minute that I know of. I know there's some artists out there for me still to discover, which would probably creep into this list and knock a couple out, probably like the Arctic Monkeys. But yeah, they're just some artists that are going today, where if they were to announce a new album, I'd get very excited. I don't want my Beatles fans and followers to get upset with me though, because I've bashed on Egypt Station a bit, because it's only been 3 singles. It's a 16-track album. When the album finally comes out, hopefully the rest of it won't be as bad. But, yeah, the Foo You stuff was, I was surprised to see so many people talking about a song that bad, to be honest. But anyway, there we go. So that's my 2 cents on some artists which I think people who visit my channel would really benefit getting behind if you haven't already. The main ones I'd say to take away from this, Joe Bonamassa and Noel Gallagher. Definitely, them two are just, like, they're just so good at the minute. And Joe's got an album coming out in only 2 weeks, which, well, 3 weeks, I think, 3 weeks, which I'm absolutely ecstatic about. I can't wait. And Noel Gallagher, hopefully he'll have another one next year. But he's doing a lot of touring at the minute. I really hope to see Noel Gallagher soon in concert, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video nevertheless. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Bye-bye.